Hey everybody, I'm Chef Tom with atbbq.com, and this is Blackberry Pork Chops. Well, today I want to share with you guys a simple but flavor-packed recipe for grilled pork chops with a blackberry sauce. It's actually a Balsamic Blackberry Rosé Sauce, which I know sounds fancy, but I promise this is easy enough. You can whip it up any night of the week. So we're going to jump right into this by starting that sauce so it can simmer away while we prep the pork. Now, one of the great things about this recipe is there's fairly little knife work involved. In fact, all we're really going to do is mince up one shallot. And if you can dice an onion, then you can dice a shallot, no big deal. So we've got a 10-inch skillet. We're going to throw down a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, and then in with about a quarter cup of that diced shallot. We're going to shake in a little bit of our seasoning here using the Plowboy's Fin and Feather. This is a very lemon-forward seasoning, but it's also got a little bit of salt, which is going to help draw out some of the moisture. At the same time, let's go ahead and throw in our sprig of thyme. We're just going to fish that out. I guess we'll kind of get to the explanation on that a little bit later, but don't waste your time taking all the leaves off. Just throw the whole thing in. All right, so you can see this is softening up. We're getting a little bit of color on the shallots. So at this point, we're going to add in our blackberries. So this is a 12-ounce package of blackberries. They're about 2.5, 3 cups. You just want to let those heat up. You're going to start to blister just a little bit. And then we're going to add in, I'm going to do about a half teaspoon of this Smoke and Ghost hot sauce. And I do this because this is very similar to like a chipotle and adobo. It's going to give it a little bit of smokiness and just a touch of heat. And as soon as that gets aromatic like it is right now, I'm going to go ahead and add in our wine. So we're using a rosé wine today. So it's not a terribly sweet rosé wine. One cup of that. We're going to watch that just start to reduce down, and these berries are going to start to break down. So just let it simmer. So while that sauce simmers away, we're going to prepare our pork chops, and we're starting with a whole pork loin. This is a Duroc pork loin from Creekstone Farms. And while you might not want to do this for every weeknight meal that you're going to whip up some pork chops, if you buy a whole pork loin and cut your own chops out of it, one, you can control just how large a chop you get. So if you want a nice 1.5 inch thick pork chop, you've got all the control to do that on your own. And two, you're going to save yourself a lot of money by not paying someone else to cut these out for you. So go ahead and slice your own chops, throw them in the freezer and freeze them down, and you can pull them out anytime you need them. Now when you're working with a whole loin like this, you understand that on the surface here, you're going to have some fat. We can see that fat going around the top. Now, I like to have that little bit of fat just to add that little bit of extra drippings when you're grilling. If you don't want to deal with silver skin, and you'll see some of it right here, that's some chewy stuff, you can go ahead and take that off. Just understand that at the same time, you're going to be losing that fat. So it's totally up to you how you want to handle that. Now, for the end pieces, if you got some small stuff like this, just chop it up, and this is ready for a weeknight stir fry. You can utilize every last bit of this pork loin. So we're going to layer a couple different seasonings onto our pork today. I'm going to start with the honey chipotle from Our Butts Are Smokin'. I like this for the sweetness, for the smokiness of the chipotle. It's not terribly spicy, but it does have a nice smoky chipotle flavor. And then we're going to hit it with the Fin and Feather from Plowboys. And this is the same stuff that's in our blackberry sauce. It's very lemon forward. It's got a bit of rosemary to it. These two balance each other out really well. So remember, the smaller the cut of the meat, the less seasoning you're going to need. This is not like we're seasoning a whole pork butt or a big brisket, so we're going to get just enough to kind of cover the surface. And a thin layer, press that in there, and we'll hit all the other sides. So we've got nice thick cut chops here. I want to make sure we get the sides seasoned as well. Again, we're just not going to go crazy on that though. All right, those are ready to go to the grill. Now today we're grilling on the Yoder Smokers YS640S pellet grill. I've got the grill grate panels installed over direct heat right over the flame, running it at 425 degrees. We're gonna go pretty much over direct flame here to get some nice grill marks, get a little color on these guys. We can always finish them indirect if we need to. We'll get some good looking grill marks going on here. Our pork is releasing itself from the grill, which means it's ready to be flipped. Let's get some color on the opposite side. We'll let it keep cooking with the lid closed. Well, the pork's on the grill right now, but you can see that our blackberries are way broken down. Most of that liquid is reduced out. So at this point, what I want to do is we're going to fish out that thyme. That's done everything it needs to do in there. We're going to add about a tablespoon of balsamic vinegar. Now, blackberries can be pretty tart. Obviously, we've added just a little bit of vinegar, albeit a sweeter vinegar. But one of the things that we want to do here to balance some of these flavors out is just add a little bit of sugar, probably about a half teaspoon to a teaspoon, just depending on how tart your berries are. We'll start light, you can taste it, and you can always add more. All right, so heat is off now. Just gonna stir this enough that that sugar melts in so we can get a good read on the flavor here. So bright. Really does not need any extra sweetness. I like the balance there. I think just a pinch of salt and it's good. All right, I can tell that fats are rendering out because you can see all that extra smoke coming off the grill. You can keep turning these as much as you want. You're not gonna hurt them. But the thing you do not want to do is take these to an internal temperature that's anywhere over 135. And that's because that's when pork really starts to dry up. So, once we've got all the color that we really like on here, we'll go ahead and move these to the indirect side of the grill. I'd say this one looks pretty dang good already. So, over here, away from that direct heat, we've got the baffle pushed in, so there's literally a barrier right here to keep all that flame from coming up and browning the meat any further. Allow those guys just a little bit more time. All right, guys, we are creeping right up on that 135 that we're aiming for. So this one's already there. This one's real close. It'll be there in just a minute. We can go ahead and let that come up to temp while it's resting. We're also going to grill off a little bit of broccolini here to go with our pork. This has just been blanched in boiling water for about 30 to 45 seconds just to soften up these stems a little bit. That way it cooks really quick when it hits the grill. We're going to season it up with just a little bit of the Cattleman's Grill California tri-tip and throw it right onto that direct heat. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and slice into this pork chop and we'll get these plated up. And these have been resting for about 5 minutes, which is a good amount of time for a small cut like this for the juices to redistribute. So you should get a nice juicy bite all the way through, right there in the center. Oh yeah, plenty of moisture still in the middle, as well as all the way out to the ends. We're gonna plate this up with a little bit of rice. You've got your broccolini there. Some sliced pork. And of course, right on top, we've got our Balsamic Blackberry Rosé Sauce, which we've chosen to leave kind of rustic to give it some texture, though you certainly could just strain it off if you want something more syrupy. A little squeeze of lemon for the veggie. That's it. All right, tasting time. That's tangy. Really love the brightness of the fruit. That lemon comes through from the fin and feather on the pork. Great balance. pork and fruit, always fantastic together. And it's a fantastic summertime meal. I mean, it feels like, because you're eating the lean pork, you got the brightness of the fruit, the lemon, you got the green on the plate. Great any day of the week. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to check out atbbq.com for all the products featured in today's video. If you enjoy the recipe, hit that subscribe button. And if you have any questions or comments or there's anything you'd like to see me cook, let me know in the comment section down below. Let's be good to one another. For more recipes, tips, and techniques, head over to atbbq.com/thesauce. All things barbecue, where barbecue legends are made.